What you're about to see is exactly why I wanted to do this deck in the first place. So, end the festivities. Oh man, this is going to be so sweet right here. Okay, Death Touch, Lifelink, everybody. So we do ping, and we do a little bit of damage. We did it. That's literally all I wanted to do, actually. Hello my fiery friends, the Infernoman here with the hottest in budget deck technology. And for today's deck tech, join me right now as we play in the Explorer format to play a deck that you took the time to all vote upon. That's right, we're going to be taking advantage of the brand new card from the Murders of Karlov Manor, Judith, Carnage Connoisseur, in a slight twist on Rakdos Sacrifice that I am calling Death Becomes Her. Longtime viewers of the channel know how we do it. We have to talk about the stats of the deck before we dive right into it. So as you see on screen right now, we're rocking a Rakdos deck of black and red. Our average mana curve is about 1.8, and we're rocking 20 creatures and 24 non-creatures. Specifically though, that's going to be 20 instants, 4 sorceries, and only 16 lands. Now I know what you may be thinking right now, Infernoman, how could this be any different than any other Rakdos Sacrifice deck that's currently out there in Arena?
Good question.
Well, I'm glad you asked. So let's actually work our way backwards with the creatures, and we'll talk about, of course, the main star of the show and the card that you voted on, because that's the whole reason why we're even here today. And that is, of course, the one and only Judith, Carnage Connoisseur. This 5-mana 3/4 human shaman is a legendary creature that reads, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, choose one. That spell gains Death Touch and Lifelink, or you can create a 2/2 red imp creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Oh man, this is definitely my kind of card. I love cards like this. So this is of course why we're here, as I mentioned. This of course means that we can make a ton of imps that can either chump block and just do small increments of damage, or we can sacrifice those imps to get even more value out of them as the game progresses.
When I'm in command, every mission's a suicide mission.
The other's first ability there is extremely powerful, but of course, we'll talk about all this stuff in just a moment. To support Judith's game plan, we're going to need a couple of creatures that of course kind of mirror what she's doing and take advantage of the fodder that she creates with those imps. So with that, of course, we have to have cards like Mayhem Devil here, because anything that's sacrificed, whether it's ours or our opponent's, we can ping our opponent for 1 point of damage. We will also have another way to make tokens in Young Pyromancers. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you can create a 1/1 red elemental creature token. That's also great fodder and great chump blocking for us throughout the game. And then with that, we do need a couple of creatures because, let's be real here, Judith's a little expensive at 5 mana, so we need to ramp her out as soon as possible to start supporting this game plan. In the 1-drop slot, we're going to need, of course, a little bit of extra support. So we have Greedy Freebooter and Shambling Ghast. Both of these cards basically do the same thing, where they can make treasure tokens once they die. However, with Greedy Freebooter, it kind of helps us fix our next draw, and Shambling Ghast, if you absolutely have to, it can make at least something a -1/-1, so ideally you can use this as somewhat cheap removal in a pinch if you really must. But otherwise, with that, the whole game plan, of course, is us just spellslinging as quick as possible to take advantage of Judith, and I'll say even to a degree, Young Pyromancer's abilities. So with that out of the way, now the spells that we're going to be slinging are going to be cards like Village Rites, that we can sacrifice a creature to draw some cards. We also have Deadly Dispute to also draw some cards to make a treasure token. These are going to be great, of course, with those elemental creature tokens, and even better with Judith's imps to allow us to do a little bit of burn damage along the way. Also, speaking of burn damage, we do have a couple of spells that take advantage of Judith's ability here, and we want to maximize that value as much as possible. So we're going to use cards like Searing Blood here. This card, of course, is insane if we can give it Death Touch and Lifelink. Imagine, if you will, a card that basically can do 2 damage, allowing us to get 2 life back when it hits a creature, but once it dies from the Death Touch ability and Lifelink, we can then basically Lightning Helix them for 3 damage, and then we also will gain 3 life back. This card is insane with Judith out. And then, of course, because we are utilizing that ability, we can actually do a one-sided Wrath and do hopefully the meme ability of using End the Festivities. Super little cheap, and usually this card doesn't really do much in any kind of normal format unless if it's a sideboard option, but in our deck, this basically means it's a 1-mana Wrath. That's insanely hilarious, and I hopefully will get a chance to do that later on in the gameplay video. Otherwise, the only other spot removal will have at instant speed will be Spikefield Hazard. Great as a modal card because, again, this deck runs a little cheap, so this way we can utilize it as a tap land if you need to in a pinch, or you can do it as a 1-mana instant speed exile removal effect. This is basically like a Swords to Plowshare on a stick for us with Judith out. Of course, we have to acknowledge something else before we finish this up. With the fact that Judith is so expensive, she tends to be a shoot on sight type of creature. So in order to, of course, to support her and protect her just a little bit, in a pinch we can also use Malachor Rebirth. So this instant allows us basically to cast it on her, and if she does die, we can bring her back back to the battlefield tapped and back under our control. Yes, you'll lose a little bit of life, and yes, if you have to use it as a land, it will come into play tapped, but it's great for our deck because we can again support Judith's game plan and protect her for a little bit longer. Now, when it comes to the land base, yes, it looks a little bit low because you can see right here, there's only technically 16 lands. I mean, we're talking about utilizing Hive of the Eye Tyrant, just a couple of swamps, mountains, a Den of the Bugbear, 4 Blood Crypts, and 4 Foreboding Ruins. Really quick disclaimer though, if you want to put this together in paper, Foreboding Ruins is technically a rare, but it actually is extremely cheap, so you can utilize them, of course, if you want to be on a budget. And speaking of budget, if you don't want to pay, what is it now? Oh god, $60 for Blood Crypts. Actually, if you do want to just play this, you could probably put in a different type of dual land and just be way cheaper if you want to put this together, of course, in paper. But of course, I digress. As far as the sideboard is concerned, you're going to utilize, of course, some stuff that'll just protect us if you want to play this in best of 3. So Duress is, of course, for control decks out there. You also have Feed the Swarms to destroy. Mostly it's going to be for enchantments, but it can also deal with creatures in a pinch. A Bastion of Remembrance if you want to go even extra grindier in the main deck. If you want to, of course, utilize some graveyard hate, you have Clean the Dust here. We have Claim the Firstborn to pull away some of the other pesky creatures that our opponent might have. And a Braid, of course, mostly for artifact removal, but also can be used against creatures in a pinch. And then finally, if you need to show off your opponent's life gain, we have Tibalt Rakish Instigator, which also creates some devil tokens, which can help us ping out our opponent. But otherwise, that is the whole game plan for you. So the simple question, of course, we always have to ask is this deck possible of making a go wide strategy go off, and then we can then sacrifice our creatures for value, and then burn out our opponent to win a game?
Yes.
Well, I don't know about you, but I am super pumped to see how well this deck performs in the format. So let's take this, of course, into the Explorer format and see how well it does. But before we continue, if you do like any of the content that I do, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you watch the content so you don't miss out on any of the gameplay, booster pack openings, deck decks, and so much more. Alright, my fighter friends, here we go. Can we go off with a bunch of tokens and sacrifice them for value? Well, let's see right now. So with our deck right now, we don't have Judith, unfortunately, but we do have a lot of ways of just drawing out some cards and doing out some damage. So let's keep this hand, because we have a Young Pyromancer, which is nice. We have some removal, and we have a couple ways of trying to see if we can pull this off right here. Alright, Raven Inspector. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be the Boros Convoke deck. This deck is actually pretty solid to fight against if we can get Judith out ASAP. So with that, Foreboding Ruins, we'll reveal our Blood Crypts, and then we will pass here. Can't take out that 3-bit Inspector, which is a little awkward here, but that's okay. Another 3-bit Inspector. They ping themselves. They investigate. Alright, Sacred Foundry. Lethal Demolition. Okay, well, they're super wide now, which is going to be unfortunate for us. Knight of Aaron of Eos. Oh, jeez. Okay. We might be losing pretty quick here, everybody. Alright, they got the revealed cards. Our turn. Oh, jeez. Wow, we're really behind right now. This is going to be a little unfortunate for us, but we're going to try. Young Pyromancer. Maybe if we can go a little wide here, we might have a shot. Lethal Demolition again. They're just going to try to see how wide they can go right now. Knight Aaron of Eos. Number 2. The value train keeps coming for our opponents here. Bouldering Epicure. They ping us for 1. Alright, so, well, we're going to have to take the hit here. Okay. Down to 10. Ooh, boy. Okay. So with that, we have to play the Blood Crypt right here. And how do we do this here? I guess we'll try to Young Pyromancer. We will end the festivities. This buys us a little bit of time. So that does take out all their tokens, which is nice for us. And this does give us a little bit of time to block. So hopefully, again, we can stop our opponent here for a little bit longer. Opponent goes swinging. We will block and block. Not what I quite want to do right now, but that's fine. Down to 6. So we're just stalling right now. They hit themselves down to 12. Lethal Demolition again. Make some more tokens. Searing Blood. Okay, well, that's okay, I guess. Resolute Reinforcements. To make another token. And we pass. Alright. Do they have the win here? Okay, so, with that. Pumps up the whole team. They go swinging. Can we survive this hit right here? I guess we'll find out right now. Okay, so with that, we will then hit the recruiter, make some tokens, do a little bit of damage to them. We will then spike field hazard out. What do we hit here? Okay, it's gonna be the resolute reinforcements. Make some more tokens. That's gone. Okay, well, can we survive this hit here? I don't think we can, but we're gonna try. Okay, so with that, and blocked, and blocked. Okay, how much damage is that right now? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, geez. Okay, we have to like literally block everything here. Well, oh boy. All right. Well, this doesn't help us at all. Okay. We survive a whole turn here, but just barely.
I'm in danger.
Oh man, where were you earlier? Okay. Well, take out the 3-bit inspector. Take him down to 6, and well, that's game for us, unfortunately. Well, we came close, everybody. We almost stabilized, which was actually pretty impressive considering how crazy our opponent just went off there. But you can see, even an end of festivities at a lower level is not too shabby, actually. Our opponent actually had to kind of rebuild themselves just a smidge, so that's fine. We'll get them next game. Alright, my fighter friends, here we go. Can we get a bunch of sacrifice fodder for value and get our ideal win with Judith here? We're about to find out. So, with this hand, we have plenty of lands, we do have some sack fodder, and we do have a way to make some tokens, along with Deadly Dispute. Not too shabby. This is great for us, so let's keep this. Ideally, though, if we at least had the Mayhem Devil, this actually would have been perfect. Otherwise, it looks like our opponent mulliganed just a smidge there. Alright, so with that, we will play here, Greedy Freeboater. The good news, of course, about our deck is, even if our opponent just starts taking stuff out, which, do they do it? They do not. Even if our opponent starts stopping things, we actually have a really awesome game plan with the fact that we just want our tokens to die as quick as possible. Mountain down. We will play a Young Pyromancer. I'm anticipating they have to have removal in some way, shape, or form, so we're going to try to throw that down early, seeing if they have some way of getting rid of stuff. They have a Deduce. They make a Clue. So, are they gonna try to combo us? That's what I'm worried about. Oh, they kind of are. Oh boy, is it the Indomitable Creativity deck? I hate that deck so much. That's fine, it's fine. We're gonna try to find our way to get around this. Torch the tower. Exiled. Mayhem Devil. So we will play Shambling Ghast. Go swinging here. Deadly Dispute. Now that we know that, we're going to try to start accelerating our game plan here. We need to create a treasure token, draw some cards. We have the End of Festivities, which is nice. All we just need now is Judith, and we should be fine. Tap land for our opponent. Pass. Another Greedy Freeboater. Alright, so with that. Shock land in. Freeboater. Mayhem Devil. Or not. Do you have a counter opponent? They do. Wow. Okay. Well, this is fine. We're not going to pay, because we need to keep those treasures. Go swinging down to 15. Come on, deck. Where is Judith? We need her ASAP. If we can get her out, then we are solid. Okay. Well, here comes the creativity. Again, deck I absolutely hate, but that's fine. If we can get the Judith, then actually we should have a shot. Maybe. They got all of their stuff in hand here. So let's see what they try to do. Oh wow, we did get Judith.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Judith coming down. They obviously don't have any removal red for this, because Judith, of course, can dodge the damage this does, which is great for us. We go swinging here. Do they block? Actually, I realize I probably should have done this first. Please don't yell at me in the comments for this. I realize I kind of messed this up. That's okay. So, Death Touch, Lifelink. Take out the Ratrox and exile it. That felt good. That felt real good. Oh man, that was awesome. Torch the tower. Unfortunately, it's exiled, so we don't get the treasure, which is awkward. But that's just fine, everybody. We do also have a Young Pyromancer and an End the Festivities, so we're not out of this just yet. Prismari Command. Well, that probably means we're going to have to waste a bunch just to stop us here. Wow. Prismari Commands just to take out one Judith. That's impressive. Young Pyromancer. Alright, our one and only Pirate's going to have to do the job here, everybody. We do, of course, have Hive of the Eye Hermit, so that's our backup plan, of course. Shark Typhoon coming in. We don't have a way of stopping that per se, but we do have ways of at least getting around certain things here. So, firing up the Hive of the Eye Tyrants, because that's our best option now. We will eat, I guess we'll eat the Indomitable Creativity. Down to 8. Not quite exactly how I was expecting this deck to go, but it is working, so to speak. Alright. Opponent's down to 3 cards. They have 1 Shork in hand. Did I say Shork? I know what I said. Volcanic Spite. Here come all the tokens. Yeah, we couldn't get at least another... Okay. Well, that's not too bad, right? Mayhem Devil's okay. Alright, so, how do we do this? I think we're going to try to just swing here. Do they block? Wow, they don't block. Interesting. Okay. Down to 7. Pass the turn here. Volcanic Spite again. We will Malachor Rebirth, protecting our Mayhem Devil. Unless our opponent has more removal. Okay. So it dies, but comes back tapped. Alright. 1 card left in hand, opponent. What do you have? Oh, Indomitable Creativity again. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate for us. We don't really hit anything good. Okay. Well, actually, we have the end of the festivities, but we don't have Judith on the field. It just got another... You don't even know. Like, I'm really not a fan of this deck at all, but... Alright, well, we can't really beat this, so... We'll have to concede here. Not what I wanted to do, but I just can't deal with this combo deck. Unfortunately, our deck is not equipped for that, but, I mean, that's what you get when we're at a budget level, so hopefully the next game, we will definitely get them. Alright, my fighter friends, here we go. Can we win with our tokens and Judith backing up our whole game plan? Well, as you can see right here, ooh, we do have it. We have, of course, Judith in hand and the end of the festivities. Can we pull off this meme and make it a dream? We're about to find out. So let's keep this hand. It's a little slow, but maybe as long as our opponent is creature heavy, we might have a shot here. So with that, Spyfield Cave. We have to have a tap land because we need to make sure we hit our land drops just so we can get to Judith. Swamp, Living Marsh, Reassembling Skeleton. Okay, I guess that's super janky, but that's okay. I don't mind that. We'll play Young Pyromancer. They might have removal here, which will be unfortunate, but that's okay. Woodland Cemetery. Fatal Push. No surprise there. Hitting us with their skeleton. Greedy Freeboater. Coming down. We need to keep that Malachor Rebirth for Judith once that time comes. So with that, Swamp. Now we pass. Opponent's got Deadly Disputes. Okay, well, this is fine. That's okay. Pass. Alright, opponents. The good news also about Judith is also she's a 5-drop, so that means she avoids a Fatal Push, which is great for us. That means our opponent is going to have bigger removal versus Judith. Corpse of the Lost. Oh, are they a skeleton deck? Well, I definitely tip my hat to that opponent. Kino to you. Props for that. You have my respect, opponent. Definitely, if you're playing a janky skeleton deck. They go swinging, which is perfect for us. Block here. Deadly Dispute. Sacrifice the Freeboater. Get some treasures. Want another Freeboater? I think we'll just keep it. We can block for a little bit while we build up our army of tokens. Okay, so no damage to us. Pass here. Ooh, okay, we got Mayhem Devil too. This is great. So with that, Freeboater. We will play Mayhem Devil. I know it looks a little awkward here, but don't worry. You're going to have to trust me on this one, everybody. It will work. So with that... Okay, well, that is a choice, opponent. So with that, we'll sacrifice our treasures, sacrifice our Freeboater. So that's a lot of pings, but this does help us out. Ping and ping. Ooh, another end the festivities here. That's going to be great for later on, so we'll keep that. Ping away. Ping away. Take out the skeleton. Draw some cards. Make a treasure. So we're kind of back to where we were earlier. And, oh, actually, now that we have it here, I think we're going to do it this time. Wow, actually, this actually worked out a little bit better than I thought. Okay. Okay. Our opponent here just went through all that, and we still get to keep our Mayhem Devil. This is actually sweet. Nothing else, you can see the deck is a little bit more grindier than you may think. Okay, all we just need now is... Oh, Binding of the Old Gods. Well, that's unfortunate, but that's okay. Opponent did have to use a ton of removal just to get rid of just that Mayhem Devil, which is fine. Mountain, and... Alright, wait, do we do this now? I think we're going to have to wait a bit. I want to use Judith, but I'm worried that they still have some stuff in hand. So we're going to go swinging, because we got to take out that reassembling skeleton. So exiled. Whew. Well, at least that's off the field. Down to 14. I know. We all came here to see Judith, but I need to see if our opponent's going to be playing any other skeletons or any other creatures for that matter. Opponent's got 4 cards in his hand. What else do you have, opponent? Once we have a better idea of their game plan, then we'll throw down Judith. So I was right. It is skeletons. They go swinging. They hit us. We're down to 14. All right. Searing Blood's not too shabby here. We'll Hive the Eye Tyrant one more time. We will eat a Deadly Dispute. They're down to 11. I really want to see what the remaining cards are, because that's the only thing that's going to determine whether or not we can throw down Judith in a turn. I'm going to go swinging. Down to 11. Village Rites. They sacrifice their token. The Assembling Skeleton. And our turn. Okay. Well, we have another Blood Crypt, which is great for us. Okay, everybody. Well, I'm not going to hold off any longer. We have to do this. We came here for Judith, everybody. So she's going to have to survive a turn here. We just need Judith to survive a whole turn. Can she do that with, oh wow, 5 cards in hand? It's a little scary. Hopefully none of that is removal. But if it is, we do have a Malachor Rebirth to give us a little bit more time. Okay, Binding of the Old Gods is actually fine. So with that, Malachor Rebirth. We will create an Imp. She gets blasted for a split second, but comes right back. Whew. Well, that worked out for us. Gutter Bones. Okay. I think we can pull this off, everybody. This is all what we came here for. Okay, so what you're about to see is exactly why I wanted to do this deck in the first place. So
this is where the fun begins.
And the festivities. Oh man, this is going to be so sweet right here. Okay, Death Touch, Lifelink, everybody. So we do ping, and we do a little bit of damage. We did it. That's literally all I wanted to do, actually. Okay, with that, we go swinging. Down to 5. And then, well, basically we're just going to have to wait right here for a turn. But otherwise, you get the idea here, everybody. So with that, let's see if we can get a little greedy, though. So, sacrifice our token. We'll make another token. Down to 3. Draw some cards. Freeboater will come in. Pass the turn here. Okay, opponent. Well, you've got 1 turn to beat us. Can you do it? I mean, even if they put down another creature, I think we've won here. Okay, opponent, you've got an option right here. You need to find a way to blow up the whole board, but even so, we've still got, of course, our Hive of the Eye Tyrant. So I don't think our opponent can beat us here. Skeletal Swarming, that is a super awesome card. I love that card, but it's not enough. So with that, yes, we beat our opponent. We beat Skeletons, everybody. Oh, wow, I actually never thought I would say that in a ranked match, but here we are. I definitely had fun this match. And there you have it, everybody. So that was Death Becomes Her in a nutshell. And you tell me in the comments below, what do you think? Would you play this deck in any way, shape, or form? To be perfectly honest with you, I love this deck, and I think Judith is an amazingly fun card to play. But if we were to be perfectly honest, the deck tends to perform, I think, better in best of 3. Obviously, we don't have footage today that shows you a best of 3 match, but the way we designed the deck, you're probably better off taking this to a best of 3, mostly because as much as I love Judith, she takes a while to get to. Even with all of the things such as Shambling Gas and the greedy freeboaters to build up treasures, our opponent, who can be a lot more aggressive in best of 1, tends to, well, they tend to steamroll us pretty bad, and you kind of saw that today in today's footage. Still, I'm not, again, disappointed with how the deck turned out. I'm actually pretty happy with it. We may want to consider, of course, utilizing some of the instant sorceries that we kind of actually have in the sideboard, and maybe we might have to swap some stuff around to the main deck. I don't know. You'd let me know. Which do you think is better for this deck? I think, again, also Searing Blood, I love the card, but it is a bit meme-ish because we have to wait until we get the maximum value with Judith. Just something to think about if you are interested, of course, in playing this deck. Now, for those of you who are still with me, even this deep into the video, give a shout out below because you are my true fiery friends. And as always, since you've stuck around this far into the video, I'm going to show you how you can make this deck even more hilarious and even more amazing than it currently is. Now, in terms of upgrades, this is where things are getting a lot more spicier compared to our other upgrades we've done in the past. So with this one, we're going to just go all in on the oddballs card, Abush the Prey Piercer. This companion means that we will have to radically change the deck quite a bit here, but actually it still works in our favor. In the 1-drop slot, nothing really changes. We are still going to rock our Freeboater. We still have Malachor Rebirth, Spikefield Hazard, and the Festivities. You basically get the idea here. It's going to be all the same on the 1-drop slot because they all fit perfectly with what our companion's doing. But because of that, now we have to get rid of all of our 2-drop cards, and then we move some of those into the 3-drop slot. Thankfully, of course, Mayhem Devil sticks around. We're now going to move in Light Up the Stage, and we're going to have to get rid of Deadly Dispute. So it is a slight downgrade, but it still provides us with the card advantage engine that we still need to rock. With that, we actually can get rid of our Searing Bloods, and we're actually going to be able to put in Bone Crusher Giant. This card still provides us a great amount of flexibility because it's both an adventure instant and it's also a creature, which really helps us out with our game plan. As far as getting rid of our Young Pyromancer, now we can upgrade to Sedgemoor Witch. The biggest advantage, of course, is it has Ward to protect itself, and also it creates pest tokens, which when they die, they give us a little bit of life gain back, which really helps us stabilize in the mid to late game. Because of these open slots that we have now, we're going to now put in Bastion of Remembrance as well, because this card can also help us outgrind our opponents overall in the mid to late game. Because of that, however, we're going to have to actually shave things down a smidge. So as you can see, we only need 3 Sedgemoor Witches, and because of that, we're only going to rock 3 copies of Judith to make room for the Bastion of Remembrance. With that, the upgrades, of course, in the land base are pretty much what you always expect. So of course, get all the dual lands you get. Thankfully, from the original version, we already have the Blood Crypts, which is your best land, but also we're going to add in Pathway lands now and Blackleaf Cliffs. You're now going to squeeze in for the Den of the Bugbears and the Hive of the Eye-Turns. This does mean, however, we'll also have to trim down a little bit to going down to a single swamp and a single mountain, so it is a little greedy to work with here, but it still works again in our favor. As far as the upgrades to our sideboard here, we're now going to keep, of course, the Cling to Dust. Your Duresses are now going to be Thought Seizes. You'll have Gleeful Demolition. This is only, again, just to fit with Abush to make sure that we do fit the restrictions of the companion mechanic. This also means you'll have to now put in Fareka's Libation, so we still have some enchantment hate. Liliana the Veil will now be our Planeswalker of choice on the sideboard here, and Chandra Dress to Kill to round out the package and give us a lot more flexibility and longevity versus our opponents. And with that, here are my final thoughts that I just want to give on the deck overall. Yes, of course, this is definitely in my wheelhouse, and I had a lot of fun playing it. As you can see, of course, is the deck perfect? No. Is it original? No, because again, Rakdos Sacrifice is anything new when it comes to treading this kind of direction. However, as you saw today, just putting in Judith alone definitely gives us a new way of looking at cards that typically tend to be more like sideboard options and now become main board all-stars. So that's definitely one of the biggest takeaways I can give you, if nothing else, for this deck. And with that, I'm simply going to say, if you are a fan of Rakdos Sacrifice, if you do like, of course, pinging your opponent to death to get your victories, if you are a fan basically of Judith and her really cool flexibility to turn any of your weakest burn spells into the strongest removal, by all means, definitely give this deck a try. And I assure you, when you get your wins in against your opponent, when you manage to blow them away with a 1-mana Wrath against their whole board, forcing them sometimes to just rage quit on the spot, you're going to enjoy it a lot. It's going to be so satisfying when you do it, and you will surely, and no doubt, not be disappointed. That's all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and just remember that no matter what you do play in the game of life, always be sure to burn bright. Later.